Okay, so my mom goes back to California because she's convinced my dad's in Hawaii and she wants to beat him and get a default judgment in California. So she flies out and leaves me with Ricky. Meantime, Ricky goes, "Mwahaha, I've been waiting for this chance." And he's like, "Don't even bother telling anybody because they're going to think that you're having flashbacks from your dad or that you blame everybody, that you accuse everyone of doing that." And I wasn't going to do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to take it. So I went clear across the kitchen, head down, you know what I mean? And like a battering ram with my head. And I thought that I would like make him go oof and I get past him and go out the door. This was a United States soldier. All he did was tighten up and squared. And dude, I heard my neck go. It could have actually killed me. I dropped to the ground. I was completely motionless. I couldn't move anything. I was completely paralyzed, and he had his way. And then when I tried to tell my mom things later, she didn't want to know. I'm not even going into those details right now, okay? Why was I telling you that? Let me pause this for a sec. This shit I don't like to talk about. But then once it's out, I cannot have to do it again. Oh, I know what it was. Mom wanted to try to nail dad to the cross. So they told me that I had to tell everything that happened with dad. And I said no, because I heard that he got hurt or that he would get hurt in jail. People told me that what dad did gets people killed in jail. And I'm not going to do that. So mom took me out of school, locked me in my room, gave me the Bible, a legal pad, and a pen. And I was to write down everything he did to me or I wouldn't be allowed out again. I like to be by myself. Fuck you. And you shouldn't have gave me a pen because I'm an artist, bitch. Excuse my language. I love my mother. I'm sorry, God. But anyway, so I just drew the whole time. But then I started getting kind of possessed because I started doing these drawings that weren't really coming from me. And it was showing like a goat with tears of blood and all this stuff. I was there too long. Well, mom used that. She's like, good. That means she's nuts. And now we'll say it's his fault. So she took me to the counselor and the counselor's like, well, why don't you want to tell anyone? And I'm like, I don't see why I should like rat out my dad when my stepdad's doing the same thing. She did not even react like it was nothing. You know what I mean? She didn't say nothing. My throat's getting sore. So I've been talking a lot today. And so what ended up happening is I came home the day of Hurricane Eva and CID had just left the house. And my mother was mad. And she goes, uh-huh. And I heard a knock. So, and I knew she was already upset about something. So they open the door. She opens the door. It's just her and I. And two CID officers come in. And they say that they understood there were allegations of molestation or something. And my mom goes, no. And she looks at me like, you better not say a damn word. So I didn't. Anyway, hurricane even happens. And here comes Ted. And Ted started dating my whole family so he could date me. And that's a whole nother story. So he comes in like he was always going off like this. I have a few stories of this. He came in like G.I. Joe. There's a hurricane coming. And he puts tape across the windows and he's doing all this stuff to weatherize my mother's home, because he has completely adopted the family at this point. My stepdad was bragging at Helemano. He's saying, ain't nobody gonna marry my daughter. I wasn't his daughter, but I love you very much, Ricky, now. But he was like, ain't nobody gonna marry my daughter but a rich man. And Mr. Ego, I'm such a narcissist magnet. He literally said, well, I'm rich, and he's like, oh yeah, what you got? And then Ricky liked what he heard. And the movie Poltergeist, to date me, Ted would date the whole family. I'd say, oh, I'd like to you all out to dinner. So obviously they're going to let it. Keep in mind, my parents are the ones who threw the booze parties. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother story. I can't even believe I get to tell these things, It's insane. Anyway, I always wanted to write these, but I just think it's better to tell them. Wow, it was wild. So anyway, it's just easier this way. So what ended up happening is where am I? Okay, whoa. Oh, only a rich man could take. So he says I'm rich, dates the family, all of this. Okay, Hurricane Eva, he comes in. He leaves, all right? After he weatherizes the house, he's supposed to go report to the barracks, all right? And so my stepdad comes home. Is that what you're here for? Did you come to ruin my house? I don't know what he said, but he was saying that I was there to ruin his life. And he just packed up all my stuff and threw me out in a hurricane, okay? It was so traumatic, I don't even know if I got hit. He's hit me a couple times, but it was usually when I was like getting in the way of my mom, and I'd stood up to him once, and boy, that was rough. One time he picked me up above his head and slammed me on the tile, and they've got serious tile there. It's like hospital tile. But anyway, man, talking about a smashed roach. That's what it felt like. Not one broken bone in my body to this day. Thank you, Jesus. And nobody will believe it. But anyway, because they've seen stuff, they're like, no way, that didn't break you. So anyway, God's cool. So anyway, what happened was, okay, where am I? All right. So, I'm out in the hurricane and I find a car to get under. Okay, so I leave my bags by the car and I'm under the car. So some MPs wanted to know what those bags were, I guess. And they see me under there and they got a hold. I told my new Command Sergeant Major. Command Sergeant Major made a few calls. He's the one who made it all go away. And we ended up with a beautiful little apartment in Mililani, and I was living the dream, man. If only Ted wasn't a psycho. I'll tell you later. One time he got so pissed off. I can't believe I have to tell this story too. Okay, so Rita, she worked for us. Remember, Diane and I were partners because we live right next door to each other and our husbands were really friends. They're Korean. Arthur was Korean, okay? Him and Ted were great friends because Arthur used to be in the Korean War. And, but for our side, it was great. It was closer than Lucy and Ethel, and it went real bad. You know how the devil is. So anyway, that's later. So what ended up happening is, I'm gonna get one of those teas you got me. Anyway, oh guys, in case you hear this was actually for my ever loving, because I want to let him in on some details, and he doesn't have to look at my face and laugh. No, anyway, but okay, where was I? Okay, so Rita comes in and she goes, Jimmy, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, what? And she's like, this is really, you need to sit down. This is terrible. And I'm like, what? And she tells me, she told me a big story about Jose came back from the field and they have to get tested for STDs when they come back. And that it had been found out that he had an STD, which means he had to have got it for her. So she went to go get tested and it had gotten so bad that it ate her fallopian tubes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she goes, and I got it from, oh my God, I forgot this guy, Dell. I almost forgot his name. I got it from Dell. And keep in mind, this is 1983, okay? And so she goes, I got it from Dell. And I was like, And she goes, you don't get it, do you? And I go, what? Because, see, Dell's girlfriend was Rita. And I have a way of not minding being alone. And Ted, I don't know. I was reading, I think. And Ted said, I'm going to go out there for a while. I'm like, okay, cool, And so I'm reading and he's out having fun with the friends and all this. Well, apparently I didn't know because I took a nap or something. I'm known for naps. And everybody knew but me. And they figured that by now I knew that he had with Rita. And I'm not Rita, Rose, okay? And so I was like, what? Okay. And she goes, you don't get it. Jose effed me, I effed Dell. Dell fucked Rose effed Ted. And I went, what? And she goes, you need to get tested. And I went, oh my God. So I went right over to Tripler, which is our hospital. Whoo! And I got tested, and my little happy ass didn't go home. I was a stubborn little thing. So I went to my pot dealer's house and told him everything. He's like, well, you going to stay with me, little. And he was gorgeous. 10 times cuter, 10 taller. Just, the man looked like, he made Ken look sad, okay? Like the Ken doll. He just was the most beautiful American you've ever seen in your life, okay? And he's military. Talked to my mother on my phone, and my mom's like, take care of my daughter. Anyway, Ted makes such a big freaking stupid deal of it. He climbs the side of the building. He literally scales the building up like 12 floors because he's Mr. Military. Oh, God, I'm getting lightheaded. I knew I shouldn't tell this story because it gets even worse. It gets worse. So anyway, the news was involved. So the police, he lies to them and says, my wife, I wasn't his wife, Dad wouldn't sign. My wife is trapped up there with a drug dealer. He sold pot in Hawaii, for God's sakes. And he knew this, you know what I mean? And and they're having some kind of a orgy party, or I don't know what he was saying, some kind of drug party, something that is bad that could be very dangerous for somebody my age or whatever. And so the police come and get me and they arrest me, okay? Now, nobody knows what to do to me at this point, or do with me at this point, because there's literally like 5 different entities that are trying to sue for my custody at this point. One of them being the government, because they're like, nah, we want our lab rats. So then what ended up happening is so I'm at DH, that's detention hall. It's decided I'm going to go to Halakipa, okay, which was badass, and that's where I learned how to make my smoothies. From Marika, the most beautiful Hawaiian girl in the whole world, except for Tiffany and Crystal. They look so Hawaiian. I know they're not, but they look like the typical Hawaiian, believe me. Anybody would think they were local. Anyway, so what happened was she's just so beautiful. But Ted came to visit me and said that I needed to escape there, that I was causing a big scandal, right? So I'm like, okay. So we make this big plan of how to escape. I go to the appointed place. He's not there. I'm like, what the hell do I do? So I go to a house, and I'm still near enough to Halakipa that anybody knows a girl young, even though I'm intelligent and carry myself like an older person, because I could get in as 18 to any bar. But who knows if they were looking too close now that we know what we know about people nowadays. The thing is that they even offered for me to strip when I was 14. I was like, I could never do that. Not because I'm some holy moly. I'm just chicken. I can dance, but not like that. The thing is, yeah, you know how I am. I'm cloistered. So what ended up happening is, my mom calls it frigid. I'm frigid. Not with you, I'm not. Anyway, so, mostly, the thing, anyway, other people might be hearing this one day. Where am I? No. Oh! So I go to this house and I say, can I please use your telephone? I'm an Avon lady and I just lost, my car just broke down, and it was so smooth. I thought I had did it, boy. And she said, of course, my dear. And I called Lee and Linda, and they had arranged to come pick me up in Pearl City, and it was going to be great. Well, my God. Wow, I couldn't even believe it. The woman called the cops. I heard cops talking. I know what cops sound like. In the other room, soon as I heard those all-American Hawaii 5-0s, man, I was out that back door. And so I plunged into this bush, okay, big giant bush, okay. I turn around and I see a spider as big as a freaking dinner plate. I don't even know how to tell you how I got propelled out of that bush. It was like a rocket shot my ass backwards. I made a hole. I mean, it didn't stay. I don't know, because it went, and I scrambled on the ground, turned around and ran, right? So I'm just running as fast as I can, as far as I can, trying not for the police to come find me. And I'm not the kind that looks back. I don't look back and see if you see me. I just keep running until I'm tired, okay? So I'm on this hill, and I'm going up this hill, and I'm just hoofing it. I mean, I'm losing it, okay? And over the hill comes Jesus. Jesus in full garb. The clothes, the hair, nothing different, okay? And don't give me that lie that Jesus don't look like the pictures that we've seen, because you can see him on every corner of Israel now, so screw you. Meanwhile, with very little difference, okay? And so he comes over, and I'm like, so he's walking towards me, and my whole body is just vibrating. I mean, I'm just like the highest form of adrenaline, but in a good and joyful, embarrassed. I'm sure that's how it feels for people to be starstruck. I'm never starstruck because of being raised by celebrities, but man, I was there starstruck. So we almost passed each other, right? I mean, literally, he did actually pass me by like one step. We passed. I said, I'm so sorry. And I turned around and I said, but are you Jesus? And he goes, that's the biggest compliment I've ever been given in my life. And I just confessed to him everything that was happening to me. And he took me back to the dorms and introduced me to a bunch of girls. And they even arranged to get me some pot to calm down, because I was always nauseated from the day I was born. And pot stopped my nausea. And, well, obviously, if you knew what I grew up in, you'd have remember how Chuck used to do on Charlie Brown? He used to always say my stomach hurts. One of the reasons I love peanuts is because I totally related. So anyway, they got me some pot and they showed me how to make free phone calls just in case because they didn't know what was going to happen with me. They were trying to get me to stay there, but I was going to meet Lee and Linda in Pearl City. I needed somebody to get me to Pearl City. And they showed me how to rig the telephones where you took a paper clip and you touched it to the speaker. And then if you touch it to the coin box, it makes an electrical current that gives you a dial tone. Used it for years. I'm ashamed of myself. But guess who those kids were? They all went to BYU Hawaii. Can you believe that? So it was funny because I did not know that BYU meant Mormon. The whole time I was there, I didn't know they were Mormon. I was actually joining the church finally when I found out that the kids who had helped me during one of the most dangerous moments of my life was the Mormons. And no one can take that story from me. Another time we were driving in the motorcycles. We were driving around the island. Be prepared to go in circles if you want a long drive in Hawaii. And so we're passing what I did not know. And so it was gorgeous. And I felt it screaming to me, saying, this is yours. This belongs to you. Go here. Now, I didn't say that to my friends, but I said, guys, look how beautiful that is. Let's go see what it is. And they're like, no, come on, Toots. We got to go, because they all were on some kind of a schedule. I'm just not really that kind of girl. I mean, this is an opportunity. I'm like, oh, please, you guys, I feel such a draw. And they're like, next time, Toots. And you know me, I'm pretty easy to get along with. So I'm like, okay, next time. Well, there never was a next time. But I was getting sealed in the Los Angeles temple. I'm going down the hall to the ceiling room. I look up and there's the building. Little did I know, even then the church was calling to me, and in a way that I was almost physically dragged off that bike. I mean, honest to God, for a second considered saying, fine, since you guys are so selfish and you're going to ruin this opportunity for me, leave me here and I'll have my parents pick me up. I should have did that. But at the time, my parents were going through a lot, and I guess I didn't want to add extra stress, I had to think about my little brother. He was only 3, and he was already being abused, so, yeah. But, yeah, man, but that was so cool. I think I told you all I need to tell you for the moment, but, yeah. It was a fun story. Take care, Angel. But, yeah, I ended up back with Lee and Linda. Lee and Linda reunited me with Ted. I went back with Ted for a while. He went on to the field, and while he was gone, when I was gone the first time, he gave away my plant to Diane. My plant was a work of art. It was a miracle. It was a wonder. It's kind of like what you showed me in that India thing, only in a pot. Not that big, but it was this big. It was nuts, okay? And God did it. I didn't do it. Mostly God did it. And so she always coveted that plant. She always coveted it. I told her she could have any seed she wanted, but she wanted that plant. She coveted it. Okay, so when I left, Ted gave it to her. And when I came back, she goes, no, gives back seeds. He gave it to me. I'm like, but that's mine. He can't give away what's mine. And she goes, well, what are you going to do about it? So I poured salt water on the fucker. I'm sorry, that's who I am. I killed it rather than give it to her. So then she got all mad and her ego got involved. And she had a broken arm from a fight she had with another girl. She beat her up for being pretty. So she came over to me and we had kind of a tussle. And she was so afraid that the police would drag her to jail that she called me in as a runaway. Because my mom, to get past my dad and to leave me with Ted, she put me under his custody. She wrote out custody papers for him. And then told the police in California to get away from dad and to get out of liability. She lied and said that I was a runaway. I didn't know I'd been reported as a runaway at all. All I knew is that the police came to arrest me, and they took me and they took my little happy ass straight to a plane. They didn't take me, no, do not stop, go, do not go on anything. And they sent me to Palmdale, California. My mother was working in Lancaster as an FBI agent at a high school as a bilingual teacher. But yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, FBI hires all kinds of phony balonies to work as store clerks and everything else. I love you, baby. Kisses.